Yo! What's good, everybody? It's your boy King Donald back with another video. So today I'm going to be doing what if Deku had Amaterasu or Black Flame. So it's going to be very similar to Itachi's Amaterasu and Sasuke's. And yeah, I'm going to be giving Izuku additional boosts to his abilities, so strength, speed, durability, agility, and etc. So yeah, without further ado, let's get started. Wait, hold up. Before we get started, I wanted to tell you that I have a second channel now where I'm going to be doing Naruto what ifs and other what ifs. So if you guys are interested, check that out, link in description. Okay, now without further ado, let's get started.
Chains, but I know you feel the same. So what if we're broken? So what if we're both 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 broken? I guess that it makes sense. I don't have too many friends, cause they'll leave you broken, and I'll like feel like.
So we start this what if with Izuku walking home after getting beat up by Bakugo. Izuku's distracted that why would Bakugo do such a thing? Why would he hurt him? And he would actually get lost on his way home. Izuku would turn into a dark corner and instantly know this is not the right way, but as he turns back, he does not see anything, he just sees fog. Izuku will continue walking until he hears a voice saying, "Hey kid, come here." Izuku be like, no sir, and try to run away, but the guy would grab Izuku on the collar and be like, "Come on kid, I won't hurt you, just give me your money." And Izuku be like, "No sir, I don't want anything, please don't hurt me." It's like, whoa, how could you think of such a thing of me? I'm not gonna hurt you, kid, I'm gonna kill you. Now give me my money." And he would start, throwing Izuku on the ground, start kicking him and asking, "Give me money." And Izuku's like, "I don't have any money." And Izuku would continue screaming, "I don't have any money." But the villain will continue hitting Izuku until Izuku snaps and his quirk activates, and suddenly the man just is infused with black flames and starts screaming for help. "Help! Help! What did you do to me, kid? Stop this! Stop this now!" And Izuku would be looking at the man in terror, seeing that he activated his quirk and now the man's burning alive. The man will continue shouting, "Help! Help! Help! Help!" until his screams will start to, become quieter and quieter until the man just drops down to the floor and the body is just completely black, infused with the fire and just burnt to a crisp. Izuku would be sitting there witnessing all of this and just crying and terrified of what he's done. And Izuku's like, "I'm a killer, I'm a killer, I'm a killer." Until we switch perspectives and we see a hero on top of the building watching all of this. It was Eraserhead. He would take off his glasses and in complete shock seeing the kid's quirk, and Aizawa would turn on his quirk trying to stop this black flame, but it would not stop. That's when Aizawa jumps down and says, "Kid, are you okay?" Izuku's like, "No, stay back, I might hurt you." And Aizawa would be like, "It's okay, kid. It's fine. You won't be able to hurt me. I'm disabling your quirk right now. You're fine." And Izuku would be like, "I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to." And Aizawa's like, "I know. I saw. It's okay, kid. Come here." And he would hug Izuku, to comfort him and everything. Izuku, just from being traumatized and shocked of what happened, would actually pass out. Aizawa would take Izuku to the station and find out where his home is and take him there. He will tell Inko what happened and etc., leaving out the part that Izuku kill the villain because he doesn't want to do anything. You just say that he caused severe damage to the villain, and Inko would be very concerned and asking, will my Zuko be okay? With him reassuring that I'm sure he'll be fine, but he'll be fine physically, but mentally, I don't know. Most heroes can't even recover from that. So a kid having this burden, it's gonna be hard for him. With Inko breaking out and crying, Izuku would wake up after being passed out for about an hour or two. Izuku would freak out, say, no, please. And he would look around and see his Eraserhead talking to his mother and run straight to him and be like, no, please don't leave, please. Without you, I wouldn't be able to control my quirk, please. And grabbing Aizawa's leg, not letting go. And Aizawa would be like, kid, it's okay. You can get a handle of your quirk. You don't need me. And Izuku's like, no, please. I don't want to hurt anyone again. I don't want to do that. And Izuku would start begging Aizawa, and Aizawa would give in to the temptation and decide to train Izuku. He'll be like, alright then, kid. Alright, I'll train you and help you develop your quirk. Because it can be dangerous, but if you use it in the right way, you could be a very useful asset to the heroes' society. And Izuku would have a giant smile on his face with tears running down, saying, thank you! And Inko would be grateful that pro hero is going to be teaching his son how to use quirk. So yeah, Aizawa would start training Izuku on how to use his quirk, but they would be progressing so slowly because Izuku is still traumatized. He has PTSD every time he thinks of even using his quirk, which is even more devastating because all he's ever wanted is a quirk. So Aizawa would, do baby steps onto Izuku, would eventually have him, stop trembling when he asks him to activate his quirk. And yeah, so I'm gonna do a time skip. So throughout the years, Aizawa's actually been helping Izuku, checking up on him and stuff like that, and it's become a routine for him, and he's developed like a bond with Izuku, and Izuku, yeah. After this time skip, Izuku would have a good control on his quirk now. He'd be able to use it, but not to his full potential, since he's still holding back from ever since that incident. So now it's the beginning of the anime, and before Izuku went to school, Aizawa would actually tell Izuku that he will no longer be training him no more. But Izuku would be like, no, wait, what you mean, Mr. Aizawa, please? And he's like, no, you have all the tools you need. You can fight just like me. You can use your quirk, and there's nothing left for me to teach you. You even know how to use my scarf. You're the first other person I've ever taught. Izuku, you have all the skills and tools. You don't need me no more. You are holding yourself back. Get over that trauma, and I can't help you with that, no matter what I do. But Izuku's like, no, sir, please. I've known you for over 10 years now. Please, sir. And Mr. Aizawa saying, if you really want me to be your teacher again, then make it to UA. Prove to me that you deserve to be a hero. Prove to me those 10 whole years were not put to waste. Show me that you can be the #1 hero. And Izuku would be like, okay, I'll make you proud, sir. I'll get over my trauma and get into UA and become a pro hero just like you. No, a pro hero that's stronger than All Might. Aizawa would have that creepy smile on the other line of the call and just say, good. Alright then, kid, good luck. And would hang up. Izuku at first would have been scared, but it'd actually be hopeful for the future, and then maybe he can get over his trauma. So Izuku heads to school and he sees the villain fight with the random villain and Komoe Woods, and eventually with Mount Lady taking the shine and all the reporters just interviewing her. Izuku would arrive at school and everyone be looking at him and just whispering. So eventually they'll get to class and the teachers start talking that it's time to take your future seriously. So I've devised these tests for you guys to take to see what your future careers could be. But it throws papers in the air saying, well, that's not necessary. I know all you guys want to be heroes, with everyone using the quirks with Izuku still having his head down. Just like in the anime, Bakugo would have his speech that's saying that he will become the #1 hero and the richest and stronger than All Might. And the teacher would say, oh, Izuku, you're going to UA too? With everyone looking at Izuku. But this time, not to laugh at him or anything, but they just concerned for everyone else that's going to be taking the test. Because they've heard the rumors that Izuku has killed somebody. It was actually started by Bakugo, hearing it from his mother that Izuku, severely hurt someone, and Bakugo, as a kid, wanted to make the story more interesting and started a rumor that Izuku killed someone. But little did she know that he actually did. So everyone would be afraid of Izuku and would actually avoid him, and they would make him an outcast. So as the teacher said that, no one would bear no mind to it, trying to actually ignore that the teacher even said that. Bakugo would not do the same though, but attack Izuku's desk, saying, What does a killer like you want to go to UA for? Where Izuku's like, I want to become the #1 hero, and stop calling me that, Bakugo. It's annoying. And Bakugo's like, oh, what you say, nerd? And the teacher telling him to settle down. So after class, Bakugo would come to Izuku and tell him that you shouldn't be applying for UA. They don't want murderers like you at that place. You're just a filthy villain. And Izuku's like, alright Bakugo, I've had enough. Trying to fight back, but Bakugo uses his explosions like, what you say, Deku? With Izuku backing down. And Bakugo would tell him just maybe do a swan dive off the building. Maybe pray that you have a better quirk this time, that you won't kill nobody. With them laughing off. Izuku would be crying at this point and just run out the building. And he wouldn't know where he's going until he enters a dark tunnel. Izuku would be like, why does Bakugo have to do that? It's so annoying. Until he hears just a certain sound, he's like, wait, what the hell was that? And Izuku has pretty good, hearing and observational skills from his training with Aizawa. And as I said earlier, Izuku has a 10 times stacked on all of his abilities. Because, I want to get him up there. So yeah, Izuku hears this, and that's when the Sludge pops up saying, give me your body, kid. I didn't know that freak was in town. And Izuku's like, oh my god, what the hell are you? And the villain will be like, just shut up, kid, and just give me your body. I need it. Trying to attack Izuku. And Izuku, out of defense, would activate the Amaterasu. And the black flame would engulf the Sludge villain. And the Sludge villain would be burning, saying, ah, it hurts, ah, and just kind of trying to roll around until the Sludge villain thinks of a strat, to detach his body from that burning part of sludge, and just throws it away. And it's like, that really hurts, kid. Now you're really gonna get it. With Izuku, doesn't know what to do. Until that's when All Might arrives, saying, no need to fear, because I am here. And he, does Texas Smash on the Sludge villain, completely defeating him. Izuku would be completely stunned that he has the #1 hero standing right in front of him. And Izuku would try to ask All Might a question, but he wouldn't muster up the strength to say it. That's when All Might offers, do you want an autograph, kid? With Izuku just nodding his head. He would sign his notebook, and All Might would say, alright then, I'm on my way, kid. With Izuku being like, wait, I wanted to ask a question. And that's when All Might would jump away. All Might would be flying in the sky thinking, oh, what's on my leg? And he would see it's Izuku with them freaking out saying, oh, what are you doing, kid? he would land on the building saying, "What the hell do you think you're doing, kid?" All Might turns back to his Small Might form, and Izuku's completely shocked, saying, "All Might!" And then All Might would explain that, just like a person at a pool sucking in their belly, that's what he does. And yeah, Izuku asks All Might a question, saying, Could I be a hero if I'm terrified to use my own quirk?" And All Might would be like, "You ask me if you can be a hero even though you're afraid of using your powers?" And Izuku's like, "Yeah." And All Might would look at Izuku and recognize him, that it was that kid that had the fire quirk that can't be that wasn't able that you can't extinguish. And Izuku and All Might be like, "Wait, you're that?" And he would remember what the case said, and he would think, "Oh, that's fair." And All Might would just say, "You need to push past your limits." And Izuku would be like, "Huh?" You need to push past your limits. As a hero, you basically push past your limits every single day. And being a pro hero is a scary job. Heck, I'm always scared being a pro hero. But I put on a smile on the face to ease the people that watch me. So, cause if they're at ease, I'm at ease, and just helps the situation even more. There's no need to panic. So my answer is push past your limits and keep a smile on your face. And All Might be like, "Well, that's it, kid. I'm gonna drop it the sludge. Oh no, I dropped the sludge villain!" And that's when they hear a giant explosion in a certain direction. And Izuku would look at All Might would look at Izuku, and they both head out there. And then both running, and All Might noticing Izuku's significantly faster than All Might, saying, "Whoa, impressive strength, it's impressive speed." And yeah, Izuku arrived there before All Might, and he would see that it's Bakugo stuck in the sludge villain, and he'll be like, "Oh no, Bakugo!" And Izuku's body, before Izuku could think, his body would start to react, and he would start running towards the sludge villain. And Sludge's like, "It's that brat! Screw you, kid! I won't let you do that to me again! Never again!" And he would actually this time put Bakugo at his front, kind of shielding him, so Izuku couldn't use the powers on him. And Izuku's like, "Oh no, I don't know what to do!" And he'll see like, "Think, Izuku, think!" And that's when you would see, a metal rod on the floor, and you'd say, like All Might said, I gotta push past my limits. And it would pick up the pipe, and it would say, "Amaterasu!" And it would turn, and he would use black flame on it, and he would have a flaming sword. And the soldier would be like, "Wait, what?" And Izuku's saying, "I'm done letting the past hold me back. I'm gonna be the #1 hero." You believe it? Oh, I don't know why I said believe it. But Izuku would dash forward at an impressive speed, with the sludge villain being surprised. And Izuku would slash the sludge villain, completely cutting through him like butter. And the sludge villain would be cut in half. And Izuku would grab Bakugo out easily. And he would put it behind him, and he would go back to sludge villain and say, "Burn." He would say, "Amaterasu!" And he uses it, and the sludge villain starts to burn. And, and everyone would see this, thinking, "Whoa, what the heck? Whoa, he's burning?" And Izuku's like, "Push past your limits. Push past." And he's like, "Disperse." With him opening one eye, to indicate, And the black flames will actually dissipate, and everyone would be surprised. So Izuku being most surprised, because that was a very high risk move at his, because if he used Amaterasu with him not knowing if he could dismiss it, but due to All Might's words, he was able to dismiss it. And now Izuku has unlocked more strength to his power. And everyone would start cheering Izuku on, asking about that quirk, saying, whoa, it looks scary at first, but now it was so cool, you're able to take down that villain, and praising Izuku, with Izuku being overwhelmed, because, he's never had friends, he's never had friends like that. So he's really antisocial in this, in this one, and less confident in himself. And yeah, Izuku would be walking home, and that's when Bakugo says, "Hey, Deku, I didn't need your help back there. I was gonna save myself. Well, I wouldn't need someone like you to ever help me." With Izuku saying, "Yeah, I guess so, huh? I'm sorry, Bakugo, but I won't be your punching bag no more." But Bakugo saying, "Huh? What'd you say to me?" Izuku's like, "You tormented me for all these years, and I just let it happen. But not anymore. I'm gonna be confident in myself and get over my trauma. And just you wait. I'm gonna go to UA, crush those exams, and become the greatest hero ever." With Bakugo looking at Izuku, be like, "F you, nerd," and just walk off. And Izuku would be completely proud of himself being able to stand up to Bakugo in the first time in like forever. And Izuku would be happy with himself. And so All Might pops saying, "I am here," and then going back to his small mind form. Izuku would be like, "Whoa, All Might? Whoa, what are you doing here?" And Izuku would be like, "I came to talk to you, young man." And Izuku would be like, "Yeah? I saw what you done out there. That was some real brave stuff. You showed some real traits of a hero. And you used your quirk. Even though you told me you're completely traumatized. I'm proud. You will turn out to be a great hero. To be honest, I would have given you something, but I actually just gave it away today." And Izuku would be like, "Huh? Give what?" And All Might say, "No, never mind. Here. Go to this address. I want to train you, kid." And Zuko's like, "You want to train me?" He's like, "Yeah. I was talking to Aizawa, and he's told me for the past 10 years he's been teaching you." Aizawa. He may not show it, but he has the biggest heart of all of us heroes. But I want to train you myself. You have impressive physical stats. I saw your speed and your strength and the agility that you displayed back there. I think you can push even more and get control onto that black flames of yours. What was that thing you were shouting? What is it called? And it looks like, Amaterasu. It's based on the goddess of, I think it's fire. Mistake me. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't wanna, I don't wanna mess all that up. But I think it's the goddess of flame. Oh, goddess of the sun. I don't know. But you guys know what I'm trying to say. With All Might saying, interesting. Alright then, kid. Give me a few days. I'm gonna make a training regimen for you. But besides then, stay out of trouble. Alright, Izuku, I'll see you. And Izuku would be completely stunned and just so happy that he's able to do this. This all started because his mentor, his master for 10 whole years, has told him that he won't be teaching him no more, and that he should branch out himself, learn his abilities himself. But now he's got the number one hero, All Might, teaching him. I'm gonna go crazy. So yeah, Izuku has a week off, and that's when he goes to Deku Beach, and that's when he meets All Might. All Might will start to explain that Izuku's weaknesses, that he does not use his abilities to his fullest potential, and what he saw today feels like it was just a glimpse of his abilities. And his physical stats are impressive, but they could be even more impressive. And for guys like you, with decent strength, I don't suggest fighting like me, brute strength. I suggest, developing a style, which All Might saying I wish I actually done myself, but I'm stuck with this. So I suggest if you want to improve, you gotta cover all the bases in these 10 months. But luckily for you, I got a regimen just for that. And Izuku would be so happy. So All Might would show Izuku on Mondays that he would be strictly working on his physicality, so his strength, speed, durability, and agility. He'll be doing that by doing several obstacle courses that All Might, has that he does his training with. Well, used to back in the day with Nana and all that stuff. And they progressively get harder every single day. They were designed to be like that. So every Mondays he would do that. Every Tuesdays he'd be working strictly on his quirk, being able to create flames and dismiss flames, create flames, dismiss flames, put up the stamina of his quirk. And then Wednesdays it's going to be actually special attacks, like infusing the black flames onto a weapon or object, and etc. And yeah, Thursdays would be strategy and all that stuff, being able to use your quirk in a strategic way. So that's where Izuku would be placed in situations where he has to use his quirk to be creative and etc. Where on Fridays Izuku would be doing a combination of all those things, and it actually would be always an evaluation, you could say, to see if Zuko's improved or has stayed stagnant. And if he does, they will increase all the things he has to do in the week. And Saturdays and Sundays, it's just gonna be simple, cardio days and workouts, lifting and small calisthenics, and actually martial arts training, a little there, nothing too special, just basics. So that's Izuku's training regimen for 10 whole months. Izuku would be doing this religiously, going actually extra harder than he's supposed to, with All Might seeing it completely on those Friday evaluation days and being completely impressed with Izuku. But now he has to keep up with Izuku's worth ethic and actually increase the working load. And this only benefits Izuku because he turns out his physicality is actually absurd. He's a machine. His stamina, speed, durability, it's actually insane. I'm gonna say his agility and etc. could almost be equivalent to Spider-Man's. His strength, I'm gonna say okay. Captain America level, so superhuman strength, but nothing too much like All Might stat. No, and strength similar, and durability similar. So it's quite impressive for Izuku. His quirk turns out to be even crazier than he thought it would be. At the end of the 10 months, All Might would be completely impressed with Izuku, seeing that his physicality is completely improved and his body type is lean, muscular, and Izuku's actually grown a little taller than in canon. So he's gonna be say 5'10" right now. So he's pretty, he's tall, you could say. Yeah, he's tall, you could say. And the abilities Izuku was able to unlock this, unlock bigger flames, so engulf bigger flames and actually make the flames chase people. What I mean by that, just like the fight with Itachi and Sasuke, where Itachi was using the flame to chase Sasuke, just like that. Izuku can do that. He built it up to that point. He built up his stamina to that point where he'd be able to do that. And Izuku actually became, a little familiar to swordsmanship, so he can use a sword and engulf it with black flames. And Izuku actually got something different. He was actually able to get a different material for the scarf, and now Izuku's actually able to use black flames on the Aizawa scarf. And now Izuku, he's looking quite lethal. He's looking like a machine right now. But will it be enough for Izuku to get into UA? That's what we'll see. So Izuku says his farewells to All Might, with All Might wishing him luck, telling him that he is actually going to be a teacher at UA. So if you want to get in, maybe if you get in, you'll be taught by me and Mr. Aizawa. So that's even more motivation. And Izuku would be completely stoked. So Izuku would walk in and see UA and be completely excited and start walking until he trips. But suddenly he's stopped in midair and he sees a blonde-haired girl with chubby cheeks. Well, not chubby, I don't know, whatever. Saying, "Hey, I'm sorry to use my quirk on you. I just saw you falling and I couldn't help myself." But Izuku saying, "No, it was fine. Thank you." And she introduced herself saying, "I'm a chocolate Uraraka. What's your name?" And Zuko, having to build a little more confidence in these 10 months, would say, "I'm Izuku Midoriya. Nice to meet you." And she'd be like, "Yeah, can't you believe that we at UA about to take the exam? Wow, maybe we'll be heroes." And Zuko's like, "Yeah, it's crazy, I've always dreamt of, being a hero just like All Might, and now this is my opportunity to go to the exact same school as he did. Become #1 hero." And Uraraka would be like, "Yeah." And Izuku, seeing her being actually interested in what he's saying, would be like, become, red and all that stuff, and be like, but good luck seeing you in there." With her saying, "Yeah, I'll see you," with her running away, and Izuku, just being stunned that a female actually talked to him. So yeah, Izuku would go into the building, and President Mike would start to explain that they're going to be doing written part exam and then a practical exam. So to start with the written part, and Izuku does amazing at this part. Izuku, for this 10 months, has been taught how to use his quirk more in the strategic way and etc. And he's been being taught this for 10 whole years by Aizawa, that always stay logical and analyze the situation and come up with the necessary strategy. That's been drilled into Izuku, and it really shows on the test, and Izuku gets damn near a perfect score, impressing Nezu of all people, with him personally creating the test. So they get on to the second portion where President Mike starts to explain the rules for the practical exam. Izuku will start mumbling and be called out by a red-headed, red? Oh my god. Blue-headed kid with glasses saying, "Could you stop mumbling? You're interrupting all your other students." Izuku frantically saying sorry. So they all head out to the, assigned areas, and Izuku gets off the bus and he's completely nervous. He wishes that he could have brought in, his scarf or sword, but since it's not absolutely necessary for his quirk, he's not allowed to bring it in. And in some cases, he would have if he would have talked to Aizawa or something, but Aizawa's gone cold turkey on communicating with Izuku to seeing how far he develops. So Izuku's stretching and he sees Uraraka and decides, "Hey, let me actually go and talk to her," until he's stopped by Tenya Ida himself, telling him that you shouldn't distract her. She's trying to focus. With Izuku saying, I guess." Izuku, wanting to make friends, says, "My name's Izuku Midoriya. What's your name?" He's like, "I'm Tenya Ida." And he starts talking and says, "I'm glad that you introduced yourself, Izuku Midoriya, but I have to focus. For now, the exam's about to start. I wish you good luck." And Izuku's like, "Good luck." With Ida, being impressed with Izuku's physicality, and I think Izuku and Ida would probably be the same height, right? Ida's like 5'10", or is he 6 foot? I don't know. But he's close to there. And President Mike will open the doors and saying, "A hero doesn't wait for a countdown. Go, 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 go!" And everyone will start running in, with Izuku being able to get ahead of the crowd due to his raw strength and abilities. With Ida actually being impressed because Izuku's not, Izuku's like keeping up with him, with Ida never thinking that someone would be able to keep up with him. And Izuku sees the first 3-point robot and he completely says, "Amaterasu!" and he destroys the 3-point robot, with everyone being surprised. Izuku's like, oh, that was a good one. And he sees a row of 1-point robots and just says, Amaterasu! And he sets a flame that actually goes through all of them and engulfing all of them in flames. Where Izuku's like, oh, nice. That's 7 points now. Oh, is my math right? Whoa. Did I say 3? Whatever. That's 7 now. Whatever. And Izuku continued doing this, actually impressing people. And Izuku would see someone in danger and actually take out that robot for them, seeing that they're not going to be able to handle it themselves. Izuku would actually notice that the 0-point robots actually have a button at the back of the head. So every time Izuku needs to recover, from his eyes being sore. I'm not gonna say his eyes bleed just like Itachi's and all that stuff. Maybe when he gets more into the enhanced stuff, you know what I'm saying? When I say enhanced, I mean enhanced. So until he gets then, Izuku's eyes don't really bleed. They just kind of get sore and needs to take a small break. So during that small break, Izuku would actually just be pressing the buttons at the back of the robots using his pure agility, strength, and speed, and etc. And yeah, the teachers would be impressed that Izuku's actually one of the few ones that was able to notice that button and actually is using it effectively. Izuku would be finding like Aizawa in the in the shadows, in the back ends of the back ends of the city, and sneak attacking the robots and etc. And he's just stacking on top of points. So Izuku is like, dang, I lost count of how many points I have, but I don't know if it's enough. I'm gonna keep going. And Izuku wanted to pursue more points until he hears just big rumbling noise, and he just sees people running, and he looks. It was the 0-point robot President Mind was talking about, and it was absolutely humongous. Izuku was completely stunned himself, and he wanted to run himself until he heard a scream, a voice that sounded very familiar. He'll look back and he'll see it was Uraraka, and he'll be like, it's that girl from earlier, Uraraka. And he would see the 0-point robot is coming in, and she would shout, someone please, and she would spot Izuku and be like, Izuku, I need help, my foot's stuck. And Izuku would look at Uraraka and his body would instantly react, going to save her. And due to Izuku's more enhanced strength, being it similar to Captain America's, he's actually able to pull off the rubber off her and carry her to safety, and not fighting the 0-point robot. And that's when the exam ends. Izuku would be carrying Uraraka in kind of like a bride type thing, just like he would, until he notices and he goes completely red, with Uraraka actually asking him to put her down, with her being completely red too. Izuku would say, I'm so sorry, I was just in the moment, I didn't think of the position. And she's like, it's alright, I'm just glad that you saved me, thank you, that was really heroic of you. And Izuku's like, no, it wasn't nothing. With it being awkward until Recovery Girl coming around saying, move out of the way. And he would kiss Uraraka's injuries with her being completely healed. Izuku would be like, yeah, I guess I'll see you around, Uraraka. And Uraraka's like, yeah, I hope we both get in. And Izuku's like, yeah, I hope so too. I guess I'll see you around. And yeah, Izuku would dip, being completely red. That, you know what I'm saying? Does Izuku have game or not? He does not know yet. You know what I'm saying? I hope he does, because that would be great for the what if. So anyways, Izuku goes home. Before we get back to the story, I would like to say that I have a new second channel called Eternal Gain. On that channel, I'll be uploading Naruto what ifs and any type of what ifs that I want. So if you guys are interested in that, please click on the top right corner or in the link in the description to subscribe to that second channel. With that out of the way, let's get back into the what if. And he tries to contact Aizawa, but he does not have any response. So a few days will go past, and Izuku still has not gotten a letter from Yue. And at this point, he's starting to get concerned that he didn't make it at all. He thought he got enough points, but maybe he didn't. And Izuku's just having these thoughts in his head until his mother comes bursting in saying, "Izuku, it came." And Izuku would, being curling, you know what I'm saying? Just like, yeah, man, be like, "Wait, what? It came?" And he'd be like, "Yeah." And he'll grab the letter and be like, "Oh my god, it came. And it'd be, doing, pacing the room until his mom notices that maybe Izuku wants to open it himself. So she says, "Okay, I'll leave you to it, Izuku." And that's when Izuku finally sits down in his room and he closes the door and he places the letter down. He opens it up and the cylinder thing pops up. Izuku places it down and he just sees a hologram. And he would see, to his surprise, both All Might and Aizawa, both doing a joint message, which has not really been done before, but they both felt like they wanted to tell Izuku the good news, because they've gotten a real good bond with Izuku. With All Might going first saying, "Ah, young Midoriya, yes, it's me, All Might." And with the Razorhead, "Sorry for the late delay. I was," with Aizawa interrupts saying, "busy with stupid press stuff." Mainstream heroes. Anyways, Izuku Midoriya, we've came to analyze your performance on the UA exam. Yes, you, Izuku Midoriya, have shown great ability and strength, and actually been able to gather a total of 65 combat points. And Izuku be like, 65 combat points? With All Might saying, not only 65 combo points, but you were able to get a total of 85 rescue points. Yes, you might be thinking rescue points. Rescue points are not a point of the exam, a secret point of the exam, where a hero could gain points by doing heroic acts. Oh my god, Siri, bro. By doing heroic acts, such as saving someone from a situation where the quirks are malfunctioning, or saving someone being crushed from a robot. And you, young man, have shown great heroic feats. With Izuku starting to cry and Aizawa predicting and saying, "Izuku, stop crying. We're proud of you. You really developed from that kid I met at that back alley. You've really overcome your trauma and became a great hero. And you've gotten a grand total of 145 points, placing you in first place." And Izuku's like, "First place?" And Aizawa would have a creepy smile again, saying, "Welcome to your Hero Academia." And All Might doing a thumbs up with the hologram ending. Izuku would be completely, shedding tears, like, and sending a voice message to Aizawa, just saying he's crying, like, and saying the same thing to All Might. So yeah, Izuku would be happy that he finally made it into his dream school, UA. So Izuku, a few days pass and it's finally time to go to UA. Izuku will arrive and see that the doors were massive, and he'll be looking for class 1A. He would finally arrive and he would see his door is completely massive and think, well, some people do have giant quirks, so reasonable. And he'd walk in and he'd see the two people he did not want to be in a class with. A blonde-headed freaking freak and a blue-headed control freak. It was Bakugo and Ida both arguing about Bakugo's legs being on the table. Izuku would be like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be the worst year of my life." With Ida coming up to Izuku saying, "Hi, I'm 10-year Ida," and congratulating Izuku on, understanding the second part of the exam, and he's like, good on him. And that's when everyone starts to come in, and that's when Uraraka actually comes, and Izuku sees, "Oh, hey, Uraraka," with him thinking to himself, why did I say her name so casually? Oh my gosh, she thinks I'm a freak. Oh my gosh, she thinks I'm creepy. Oh my gosh. With her actually saying, hey Izuku, and them actually striking up a conversation until Izuku realizes, like, wait, where's our teacher? And that's when the teacher will pop up in a yellow sleeping bag saying, you guys took exactly 8 seconds to shut up. And Izuku would be completely stunned that he had Aizawa sensei for his teacher, and he would be completely scared because he knows how punctual this man is and strict. So Izuku runs straight to his desk telling him, you gotta go to your seats, with Aizawa standing up saying, welcome to UA, put on these and meet me outside. With everyone being confused with Izuku doing it without doubting it. And everyone's like, oh, Izuku, aren't you a little bit concerned that we're not going to orientation? And Izuku's like, but Mr. Aizawa, he doesn't really care about that stuff. He thinks, the world is not fair, and he's not wrong. It's not. So that's why he's going to be super strict on us. So I suggest just get changed and meet him outside. And take it seriously, guys. With everyone being with Uraka and Ida being confused, saying, okay, and they all go outside. Aizawa, just like the anime, we start going on a tangent on how life's not fair enough, stuff like that, and Izuku's like, called it. And that's when you tell him, he would ask Bakugo what was the longest throw you thrown, and he's like 65 meters. He's like, impressive. Now use your quirk. And Bakugo would have this evil smile on his face and be like, and as he throws the ball, he would say, die! With Bakugo getting, I think, 753 meters or something like that. So yeah, he just gets that, with everyone being impressed and thinking it will be fun that we get to use our quirks. And Izuku would be like, no, it's and before Izuku could say anything, Aizawa was like, fun? With him being visibly frustrated, it's like, fun? You think being a hero is fun? Alright then, let's set some stakes, shall we? Whoever comes last place will be expelled from UA, effective immediately. And everyone would be shocked, be like, expelled? And Izuku would be face palming his head, like, I should have been quicker, I shouldn't see this coming. And everyone's like, you saw this coming? And Izuku's like, oh. And Aizawa's like, alright then, let's get started. So yeah, Izuku on the long jump would actually do very well, completing the whole jump, just using his physical stats, and everyone be impressed. Izuku yet again with the race, Ida would get 3 seconds, Izuku got 3.1 seconds, literally 0.1 seconds behind. And the grip strength, he gets pretty high, scoring second place behind multi-arm guy. And finally, last of all, for the ball throw, Izuku throws the ball with just his raw strength and actually gets an impressive score of, 400 meters. And everyone would be like, whoa, Izuku, did you even use your quirk? And all that stuff. And Aizawa would have a visibly annoyed expression on his face looking at Izuku. And Izuku would just be like, why is he so angry? What the heck? And yeah, so finally the quirk assessments would end and he would show the results. Izuku actually placed a very good second place behind Momo Yaruzu, who got first place, third being Bakugo, fourth Ida, and etc., with the person in last place being Mineta. Mineta would be completely terrified that he's going to be suspended, but Aizawa would just start, having that fake laugh, fake smile on that evil smile on his face, saying it was just all a ruse, deception for you guys to try harder. With all the students getting angry at Aizawa that he could just do this and all that stuff, with both Izuku and Momo knowing that it was kind of a ruse, but it could have been true because Aizawa has done that. Aizawa's literally told Izuku he has done that. So yeah. After school, Izuku be walking home with Ida until a blonde-headed girl starts joining them, saying, "Wait up, guys!" And they'll start discussing. And Urako had asked Izuku why Bakugo calls him Deku, and Izuku's like, "Oh, Kachan, he just calls me that. It's him of insulting me, calling me useless." With her, it's been like, "Huh, I didn't think of it. I thought it sounded cool. It kind of sounded like you can do it." And Izuku's like, "Deku it is!" With him going forward, with all of them being friends. So that's what I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys want part 2, leave 25 likes. Yeah, I'm going to be uploading What If Deku Had Matter Manipulation very soon. Just wanted to get that organized a bit, you know. And yeah, and remember, I have a second channel called Eternal Genin. I'm going to be posting Naruto What Ifs there, you know, Dragon Ball, maybe Avatar, Black Clover. We'll see, you know. It's just going to be a channel. I'm going to put out What Ifs there. No matter if I get views or not, whether I'm just gonna put what ifs there. I enjoy the story off, and it's gonna be full parts. I'm gonna upload all the parts regardless. So yeah, that channel's not about views. So if you guys want to check that out, there's be links in the descriptions and at the end. So it's been King Donald signing out. Peace.